Pandachana, Eric Gaël Miboto, Pamela Sexy, PDG Moutamba Biwan, Vieux Bernard Tola, Didas Pembe.
Je m'inspire à fond. Na bakisation nyonso basoporte contre ngai sur base ya mensonge ezali infondé bakalonie badésordre silia na kokokati nasina misala na milelo nasina misala na basho
balsileri
osi mokano kolelisa
na Bukavu Ramazan
na nyonso elingi motema na yo
Olivier Mokoko
bijou vangu tala sima songa moto
ye nanga luyonema
muteba tala sima songa moto
Photo Chico
muteba tala sima songa moto
Perimika
olingwa moto pasi ye natali sima na songi moto
Eric la tortille Papi Kake la foudre Docteur Midi Alain Chakopewa Papi Ekonzoi Jean-Louis Makabu États-Unis Licencié Jules Ziombele ya Mama Marceline Inspecteur Titi Kelokelo
nasina misala na milelo nasina misala na basha
Colonel Donald Yoke
aosi mokano kolelisa ngai sala nanga nyonso elingi motema na yo Alex Fumuti tala sima songa moto Idie Ngando tala sima songa moto Eda Musamba Ricardo Landanga
Watamwelezea machache, na hivi ndio tutaendesha masomo ya leo, kwa sababu tuko na walimu wengi. Kwa hivyo kila msemaji akimaliza nitapeana nafasi ya maswali. Hatuwezi tukafanya masomo yote na ni tofauti ndio tuulize maswali, hapana. Mmoja akimaliza nitapeana nafasi ya maswali. Mkishauliza maswali na kupata majibu, nitapeana nafasi kwa mwingine tena amwelezee. Basi naomba partner states exhibitors muje hapa mbele kwa hii tende hapa. DRC Congo, hii ni siku yenu, muje hapa mbele, karibu. Tuanze masomo. Haya masomo ni muhimu kwenu, mwelewe vile institutions za EAC zinaweza kumsaidia kwa njia moja au nyingine. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time now we listen to our presenters from the East African institutions. They are going to tell you what they do, but they will also tell you how what they do affects you, impacts on you, supports you in whichever way. We are going to start with the Lake Victoria Basin, and it's my honor to welcome the speaker, Madame Hilda. Welcome.
Thank you very much, partner states, distinguished delegates. I'm going to explain about Lake Victoria Basin Commission, what are we doing, and how we support small-scale traders. And with that, you need to understand who is Lake Victoria Basin Commission. We are the specialized institution of East African community mandated to coordinate sustainable development and management of the natural resources within the Lake Victoria and its basin. Why are we concerned about the Lake Victoria? The lake is the largest lake is the largest freshwater body in Africa and second largest in the world. It is a home of about 45 million people. It has the surface area of 68,700 kilometers square. The water is shared by Republic of Kenya, Republic of Uganda, and United Republic of Tanzania, and our sisters and brothers, Republic of Burundi and Republic of Rwanda, they are in the upper catchment, and the lake and the river Kagera is contributing to the lake. Therefore, they are within the basin. The Lake Victoria and its basin providing major opportunities for the community. You may know that it is a major source of water for domestic, industrial, and irrigation. It supports about 87 cities and towns, where about 60% of the water used by these cities is drawn from the lake. It is also a major source of fishery. It provides about 1 million tons of fish consumed within the basin and outside of the East Africa. It is endowed with the vast natural resources of ecosystems, wildlife, national parks such as Masai Mara and Serengeti. It is also recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage, where it contributes about $270 million from the tourism industry. It also provides hydropower, contribute about 720 megawatts per year. Therefore, you can see how this is potential for the economic growth, and is also good for the integration for the East African community. Despite these opportunities, the lake faces myriads of challenges. One of them is rapid increase of population because of utilization of these resources. The population density is about 300 people per square kilometer, and this put more pressure on the resources, land degradation, deforestation because of the agriculture and urbanization activities. There is also pollution load from domestic and industrial activities, and sustainable land use, and also other activities impacts the lake. So with that, the East African Community Partner States decided to create an institution who will be managing these resources to ensure the sustainability. Therefore created the Lake Victoria Basin Commission under the Article 114 of the EAC Treaty signed in 1999. And we are also established by the Protocol for Sustainable Development for Lake Victoria Basin. And recently, we have an act of LVBC of 2022. It was just signed by the heads of the partner states in July 2022. How the Lake Victoria Basin Commission spearhead the sustainable development in this region. We write projects and programs, we mobilize resources, and we coordinate implementation of these projects in the partner states. Therefore, the implementers are the partner states. We have many projects, past and ongoing. I'll cite few of them. One of them is Lake Victoria Environmental Management Project, was known as LEVEMP. We had phase 1 and phase 2 implemented between 1996 to 2018, was financed by the World Bank. The second major project was Lake Victoria Water and Sanitation Program. Also, it was phase 1 and phase 2. Also ended in 2018. And these projects were implemented in the 5 partner states: Burundi, Rwanda, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And you may cite in Burundi, you'll find them in Kayanza, Ngozi, Muyinga. Rwanda, in Kayoza, Nyagatare, Nyanza. In Kenya, it is in Isibania, Keroka, and Kericho. In Uganda, the projects are in Kayabwe, Muama, Bukataka, Lambu, Mayuge, and Tungamo. In Tanzania is in Geita, Nansio, and Sengerema. Another project that I would like to highlight here is Planning for Resilience in East Africa through Adaptation, Policy, Research, and Economic Development, financed by USAID, ended in 2019. Another project is Integrated Water Resource Management, is currently ongoing, financed under European Union and Germany through GIZ and KfW. And these projects it's providing water, sanitation, and enhance resilience of community from the impact of climate change. Another project is Adapting to Climate Change, financed by the Adaptation Fund through UNEP, and it is implemented in the partner states. Therefore, I'll mention few successes from this project, one being harmonized policies for standards of effluent discharge. Another success is we have installed 37 navigation aids in the Lake Victoria, and this is to provide safety navigation of the vessels in the lake. We have constructed 15 water treatment facilities to treat 51,500 cubic meters of water per day, and also built 32 water reservoirs for storage of water. And these are it is built for providing services to the communities within the basin. We have constructed 375 public taps that served about 12,000 people daily. Constructed 190 public toilets, 12 landfills, and distributed 29 tractors to help in the solid waste management and doing other activities. Also, 16 exhausters were bought and distributed to these communities in the partner states. We have established about 700 community-driven developments that were given some grants to assist them to improve their livelihoods through some small-scale projects such as beekeeping, gardening, and livestock keeping. I would like now to cite how Lake Victoria Basin Commission contributes or link to the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Through the projects and programs that we are implementing in the partner states, we have enhanced small-scale traders to improve their capacity to adapt to climate change. And you may know that climate change has greatly affected the sources of livelihoods of the East African community, especially farmers, fishermen, and small-scale traders. Through adapting to climate change in Lake Victoria Basin project, we have supported concrete adaptation interventions, piloted both ecosystem-based adaptation technologies and community-based adaptation technologies. The project granted fund to these community groups and established small-scale projects such as climate-smart agriculture, include beekeeping, high-value cash crops, contour farming, and alternative off-farm livelihood activities include tailoring and hairdressing by youth and women groups. These communities also have adopted the use of energy-saving or clean energy stoves. Through the training, they have adopted these technologies, and we have helped them to add value to their products in terms of processing and packaging, so that they can add value on the market sale. The community benefited. Some of them are Musaza sectors, Kihere district in Rwanda. They have done chili farming and tailoring. We have Nyaya village in Magu district, Tanzania. They are innovated in livestock fattening and honey products. In the Republic of Burundi, we have Kirundo and Muyinga province. For them, they do fish drying technology, where they have energy-saving stove that fasten. This stove, they help them to do the drying fast and with large quantities. Before, they just used to do the normal way, and they used a lot of firewood and charcoal. But with these stoves now, they use less charcoal, and they do at large quantities within the short time. In Masaka and Mubende district in Uganda, they have energy-saving stoves and honey products. In Siaya and Busia counties in Kenya, they have portable solar-powered water pump wheelbarrows, solar-powered egg hatchery, soya beans, and honey products. So you may see these technologies. It's not LVBC telling these people to do that, but we go to them, we educate them, we advise them, and they are them to select what are the innovative technologies that prefers to their communities. In conclusion, I would advise that despite giving the grants, the community groups are trained to adapt technologies that enhance their resilience from climate change. We added value of their products, and for that improve their sales. And we have facilitated these communities to participate in the regional events like this one we have here in Kampala. We also facilitated them to attend the Jama Fest. This is Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki Utamaduni Festival that were held in September 4th to 12th this year. And also we took them to Nakuru, where we had a Mara Day celebration on 14th and 15th September this year. Mara Day is the very important activity celebrated between the Republic of Kenya and United Republic of Tanzania for the signed Memorandum of Understanding for joint management of Mara River for sustainability of the ecosystem that depend on that Mara Basin. Therefore, we have empowered these small traders in the region to add market value of their products, to find markets, also to share their knowledge by attending this kind of exhibits. And through that, they attain resilience from the impact of climate change. Therefore, let's buy East African products to build East Africa for resilience and sustainable development. And with that, I wish to appreciate, on the behalf of the Lake Victoria Basin Commission Management, the Executive Secretary, Dr. Masinde Bwire, and the team of LVBC, we wish to thank our development partners and partner states for their support to LVBC and EAC in general. Thank you very much for listening.
Asante. Nitapatia MC nafasi ufanya translation kidogo, usiende presentation yote, summarize kwa both Kiswahili kwa sababu wewe ni mtaalamu wa hii maneno yote, Kiswahili na Luganda. Haraka nataka kuita mambo ya maswali kama yapo.
Sijui kama naweza kusummarize kwa Swahili, wacha ni summarize kwa Kiganda. Somebody else will do that in Swahili very well. Somebody is better than me in Swahili. Basi bone banyabo omchala ava okutusomesa wano beba Lake Victoria Basin Commission. Akachiko kano katekebwawo okulabanga ennyanja ekuzibwa oba erabirirwa bulungi tusobole okugiganyulwamu, okulabanga ennyanja ekulaakulanyizibwa era nga tusobola okubeera ey'omugaso gye tuli. Tukimanyi nti ennyanja mu mawanga ga East Africa eri mawanga Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, Burundi awamu ne Rwanda, era omugga Kagera gwe guleeta amazzi mu nnyanja eno. Ennyanja eno egabirira ebibuga kumpi 87 amazzi, era nga tufuna n'amasanyalaze okuva mu nnyanja eno. Nini ennyanja ino okusoomozebwa nti abantu bagenze beeyongera obungi. Bw'otunulira abantu abeeyongedde, abantu kumpi 300 buli square meter ababeeraawo. Kati ennyanja efunye okusoomozebwa nti engeri gye tugikozesaamu egenda n'efuna ebizibu ebya pollution. Kati no kitegeeza kwe kuteekawo akakiiko kano kalabirire ennyanja eno. Bannaffe bano omulimu gwe bakola kwe kuwandika projects ez'enjawulo n'okuyamba ku bantu okulaba nga ennyanja eno tusobola okugiddukanya bulungi. Kino bakikoze batya? Basobodde okulaba nga bateekawo projects eziyamba abantu mu mawanga gaffe gonna asatu oba ana aga East Africa, okulaba nga tukola ki ennyanja tugikuuma n'eyongera okuba ey'omugaso, n'okutandika okukola ebintu ebirala ebikuuma obutonde bw'ensi ebijja okuyamba okukuuma ennyanja eno. Bingi nnyo bye bakoze bye tusobola okwogerako, ne baŋŋambye kubeera mu bufunze. Abantu abamu abakolera ku nnyanja bagenzi babayigiriza emirimu emirala ng'okukola zino zistoovu oba essigiri ez'amanda, okutunga, okukola ebintu ebirala bingi ebiyinza okuvaamu ssente nga ennyanja tusigadde tugikuuma. Mu bufunze byebyo bye babadde boogerako. Tuyanzeni.
Asante sana MC. Hilda atarudi kutafsiri kwa Kiswahili. Hilda, tafadhali.
Nashukuru, nitajaribu, lakini najua tena sayansi maneno mengi yanapotea. Nimezungumzia kuhusu kamisheni ya bonde la Ziwa Victoria. Hii ni Lake Victoria Basin Commission. Ni kamisheni iliyo andaliwa kufuatilia au kuangalia maendeleo endelevu, sustainable development, maendeleo endelevu ya bonde la Ziwa Victoria. Kwa hiyo tunaangalia maendeleo endelevu kwa kubuni miradi mkakati, na hiyo miradi ni katika kuliangalia ziwa kuhusiana na machafuzi yanayotokana na shughuli mbalimbali za ongezeko la watu katika bonde la Ziwa Victoria. Tukiangalia kwamba ongezeko la watu limekuwa kubwa kiasi kwamba sasa hivi kuna watu karibu milioni 45, na hao wote wanahitaji makazi, wanahitaji kupata kutumia hizo resources ambazo tayari ziko kwenye ziwa Victoria na bonde lake. Kwa hiyo unakuta kwamba kuna pressure kubwa ya watu katika kuvuna hizi mali asili, na vile vile maji taka kutoka viwandani na majumbani, kutokana na ukosefu wa vyoo ambavyo au mfumo mzuri wa kuyakabili na kuyaweka maji taka, yanakuwa yanaishia kwenye ziwa. Kwa hiyo Lake Victoria Basin Commission tunaandika miradi, tunaelimisha wananchi na tunawekeza hiyo miradi kwa wananchi, na hii inakuwa kama vile unajifunza ili kuweza kuwa na maendeleo endelevu katika, na vile vile tuweze kutunza mali asili zetu. Tumefadhiliwa na wafadhili wengi sana ambao pia nimewashukuru, wakiwa ni World Bank, wakiwa ni African Development Bank, wakiwa ni Jumuiya ya Ulaya na Ujerumani na wengine wengi ambao wametusaidia, pia USAID. Hao ndio wafadhili wetu ambao wanatusaidia sisi tunapoandika hii miradi, lakini miradi inatekelezwa na nchi zenyewe. Na nikataja maeneo ambayo hii miradi mfano ambako tumeweza kuiwekeza, ikiwa miradi ya kupata maji safi, na vile vile mifumo ya uondoaji maji taka na usafishaji, na vile vile tumeweza kuwasaidia wajasiriamali na vikundi vya kina mama na vijana kuweza kuwa na mfumo wa wao kuyakabili mabadiliko tabia nchi, climate change. Na hii imeweza kuwasaidia kuwa na kilimo mbadala kinachoweza kuhimili mabadiliko tabia nchi, na vile vile kuwa na alternative ya kilimo ili waweze kujiendesha na maisha yao. Na hii wanakuwa na shughuli ndogo ndogo kama vile ufugaji wa nyuki, uvunaji wa asali, na kulima mazao ambayo yanahimili mabadiliko tabia nchi, mfano ukame na wadudu ambao wanaharibu mazao. Na kwa jinsi hiyo wananchi wameweza kujipatia hivi vitu, na vile vile tunaongeza thamani ya vile vitu ambavyo wanavipata kwa kuviweka, kwa kuvipaki vizuri, na kupitia hivyo wameweza hata kuongeza thamani ya vile vitu wanapofika kwenye masoko. Na vile vile tunawachukua wale wajasiriamali au wafanya biashara wadogo wadogo, kuwaleta kwenye jumuiya kama hii ya kibiashara kama hii tunavyofanya pale maonyesho, na wao wanapata fursa ya kujitangaza, pia kujifunza kwa wengine, na vile vile kuweza kujiongezea vipato wao wenyewe. Kwa hiyo Kamisheni ya Bonde la Ziwa Victoria moja kwa moja tuna mchango mkubwa kwa wajasiriamali, kwa kuwawezesha kwanza kuweza kuhimili mabadiliko tabia nchi, pili product zao, mazao yao wanayoyapata tunawasaidia kuyapaki vizuri ili yaweze kuongeza thamani, na vile vile kuwapatia kipato kizuri. Na vile vile nikashukuru uongozi wa Kamisheni ya Bonde la Ziwa Victoria, yuko katibu mkuu mtendaji ni Dr. Masinde Bwire, na wenzangu wote wa Lake Victoria Basin Commission, na vile vile na washukuru Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki nchi zote, na ofisi yetu kuu ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kwa support, kwa kutuwezesha kuweza kufanya kazi inavyotakiwa katika kuhakikisha maendeleo endelevu ya Ziwa Victoria na bonde kwa ujumla. Asante sana.
Nadhani hapo sasa mmeelewa, au tumezungumza kwa Kiingereza tena hapo kwa kwa lugha ya Uganda hapo, alafu tena wametafsiri kwa Kiswahili. Nadhani ni wakati sasa wale ambao wako na maswali mnaweza kuuliza. Okay, we have listened to our presenter in the languages Swahili, English and Luganda. She has talked about the Lake Victoria Basin and what they are doing. And very importantly, she has talked about how they are facilitating the small and medium enterprises. You have to understand that what they do touches on the businesses, the processes, the productions that you are doing as small and medium enterprise businesses. Now ni wakati wa maswali. Nitaruhusu maswali kama matatu hivi, alafu nitafunga kikao. Nitafunga sehemu hii kwa sababu niko na walimu wengi sana. Maswali matatu tu. Okay, MC.
Neyanza nnyo neyanzege. Amanya gange yenze Luchamus Kakoza John Bosco ndi muna Uganda. Tusiima nnyo empeereza yammwe abalabirira ennyanja yaffe. Tulina ekizibu eky'amaanyi kye mutootoogeddeeko ekisinze okubonyaabonya ebizinga byaffe. Naliko ebukakkata emyaka nga 10 emabega, naye ekizibu kye nasinga okusangayo ekizibu kya toilet ku myalo. Ekizibu kya toilet ky'amaanyi kireese endwadde nnyingi nga kolera mu bantu. Ekyo kiviiriddeko gavumenti ya Uganda okusaasaanya ssente nnyingi okulabirira abantu abo. Nze nno gye mpangalira mu ghetto, ndi mwana wa ghetto. Twakizuula nti kabuyonjo ku mwalo bw'ogisima tesobola kuwangaala, era y'ensonga emu eri mu ghetto. Twatuula ne ttiimu yaffe ne tunoonya solution ku ki ekiyinza okukolebwa mu bifo ebigonde nnyo. Ne tukola compost toilets. Compost toilets ezo teziba za kusima, wabula tukozesa empumbu y'emiti nti osobola ogikozesa ne bw'obeera mu nnyumba yo, ate the same time osobola okukola n'ebigimusa. Tubadde tubasaba tubeeko ne solution, tutwale toilet ezo ku bizinga. Ndowooza kijja tuyamba okumalawo endwadde ne gavumenti okusaasaanya ssente ku bantu abalwadde, kuba kiba kiza economy mabega. Neyanziza nnyo neyanzeege.
His question, or what he's trying to say, from his observation by visiting the lake shores and the landing sites and the islands, the issue of toilet is still a very big problem, in spite of your efforts. He says these toilets, because of this, people suffer from a lot of diseases, and the government of Uganda in particular is spending a lot of money in treating these people. He says they have managed to do what they call composite toilet. They use sawdust because you can't dig further in wet areas. So they think if you worked with them, they would solve that issue of the toilet. Why they are having problems with toilets around the lake shores is because of the wet areas where you cannot dig deeper. Probably you've not visited his stall. He says you should, and it could help. Okay, somebody else with another question? Waliyo omuntu omulala alina ekibuuzo ekikwata ku Lake Victoria Basin Commission n'emirimu gye bakola, naddala mmwe aba business entonotono, how Lake Victoria Basin Commission is relating to you as small business people. No, I think.
Okay, if there is no question, we'll allow the presenter to respond to the one issue that has been brought to her attention. and then we will move to the next presenter. Hilda.
Yeah, thank you very much for that observation. May I know your name, or I will come later to see you? What you have observed is very true. We have challenges with unplanned settlement and inadequate sanitations, and that's why bringing a lot of problems in the lake. If you see the water hyacinths, the algal blooms, all these are due to the input of nitrates and phosphates from our land use and land-based activities. Therefore, I congratulate for your innovation for the composting toilet. I will visit your booth and also get your contact, because we work with youth and we encourage the innovations that will help to reduce the pollution load in the lake. Thank you. Yeah, I have to talk, inabidi niongee na Kiswahili kidogo. Yeah, nimesema kwamba nimelipokea swala lake na mtizamo mzima ambao wao wameuona, kwamba wanakubaliana au wameliona tatizo la ukosefu wa vyoo, na vile vile vyoo huwezi ukachimba kina kirefu kwa sababu maji yanakuwa yako juu, na hiyo inaleta shida hata kipindi cha mafuriko, yale maji ya choo au maji taka kwenda kwenye ziwa. Na nimempongeza kwa sababu wamesema wao wamekuwa wabunifu, wana vyoo ambavyo vinasaidia kupunguza hilo tatizo la uchafuzi wa mazingira, na hivyo nitamtembelea kuweza kujua zaidi. Nitatembelea kwenye maonyesho yake ili niweze kujifunza kutoka kwake nini ambacho wameweza kukifanya. Na vile vile sisi kamisheni ya bonde la Ziwa Victoria tuna wasupport wajasiriamali na wavumbuzi wa teknolojia ambazo zinaweza kutusaidia kutatua tatizo la uchafuzi wa mazingira katika ziwa letu. Asante.
Makofi kwake. Thank you very much, Lake Victoria Basin. It is now time for us to listen to the Kiswahili Commission to know what they do and how they relate to the small and medium enterprises. Sasa tunataka tumsikize mwenzetu kutoka kitengo cha Kiswahili atueleze wanafanya nini na kinahusika namna gani na sisi wafanyabiashara wa Toko. Bwana Oscar.
Asanteni MC. I'm Corod Boss Konsabimana from East African Kiswahili Commission, here on behalf of the Acting Executive Secretary. East African Kiswahili Commission is an institution of East African community. East African Kiswahili Commission is an institution of East African community. It is provided for under the treaty. When we talk of the treaty here, we are talking of the equivalent of the constitutions of our partner states. In the first place, I want to welcome our partner state delegations, the business community that are here exhibiting, and our members of East African community who are here. Good morning. So East African Kiswahili Commission was established purposely to promote and develop the use of Kiswahili, of course, to facilitate mutual collaborations, trade and commerce, and any other thing that brings people together, because East African community is about people-centered development. And you can only achieve that when you have a uniting language. In terms of statistics, according to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, these are statistics from that organization. In developing countries, 45% of the population are employed in the forms that you people you are employed in. 45% of employment is generated by small and medium enterprises. So you can see the kind of contribution you make to the development of our countries. And in terms of GDP, 33% is generated from small and medium enterprises. So if these alarming percentages are to go by, what is it that our countries, what is it that East African community should do to facilitate these businesses, small and medium enterprises? For Kiswahili Commission and East African community, Kiswahili was identified as a tool to facilitate trade and commerce. Not only a tool for communication, but a tool, a business tool to facilitate trade and commerce. In terms of business opportunities that arise out of the use of Kiswahili, in East Africa itself, these statistics were before DRC came on board. About 90 million East Africans speak Kiswahili. You can imagine having a market of 90 million people. Just by speaking Kiswahili, you are able to reach 90 million people. That is within East Africa. And these statistics have changed since the coming on board of DRC. That is alone with East Africa. But when you look at the continent, and with the coming on board of free trade area, African Union itself has taken up Kiswahili as an official language, meaning Kiswahili is being promoted at the African continent, the whole of it. When you look at people who are learning Kiswahili, who I might call foreigners, we are seeing so many West Africans learning Kiswahili simply because they want to do business with East Africans, where Kiswahili is very dominant. SADC has taken up Kiswahili, meaning the whole of South Africa is taking up Kiswahili. So as a small and medium enterprises within East Africa, you can see the kind of opportunities we have by just taking up Kiswahili, by just learning Kiswahili. You can see the kind of markets we can reach by just learning a little of Kiswahili. Why is the learning of Kiswahili very important to the business community like you? Back home, when you are like producing, you might not need much of Kiswahili, but you are not producing for your own consumption. You want to go to the market. So now this Kiswahili is a tool that will help you reach the market. You are producing, and your products don't make a lot of sense before they reach the intended customers who are going to pay for them, and you get the money, because all that you are looking for is money, and you can only get this money when you get to the market and you are able to negotiate and you are able to sell to different customers. When it comes to the world over, Kiswahili is being used by more than 200 million. 200 million. This is a very big market. It's a very big opportunity for us East Africans who can use Kiswahili, who use Kiswahili to sell to the world. We have seen so many Chinese learning Kiswahili. And for those of you who do a lot of shopping, a lot of imports from China, in the near future, you will find Kiswahili being used in China, in the US, just for business purposes. So it's an important thing, and I encourage each one of you to take some kind of interest in learning Kiswahili, because it's going to facilitate your business. Actually, we have no option in the coming 10 to 15 years. Kiswahili will be a language you cannot do without. the efforts that are being undertaken by partner states, of course, like I've said, at the East African community level, the summit is the heads of partner states, the presidents of East African countries. They have already decided that Kiswahili and French be official languages of the community. And most of the member states, the partner states, our countries where we come from as East Africans, have already taken up Kiswahili as an official language. What does that mean? You as a business person, if you have any complaint or if there is anything you would want to find out in these government offices where English is mostly used, and you can probably not speak English, you will be free to get to these offices and make your complaint known. No one, you will be attended to by just using Kiswahili. There are a few things that East African community is putting in place to make sure that Kiswahili is used. And one of them is what our colleagues here are doing. Interpretation and translation. Making sure that when you speak in Kiswahili, someone who doesn't understand Kiswahili will be able to understand by having an interpreter to do an interpretation. And the same will be done with French and English, so that our people, our East Africans, are able to understand the languages that we speak. Like I've said, realizing that most of our businesses here have to get to the market, and because of the free movement of people within East Africa, we tend to cross borders. And if you have ever crossed any of East African border, you realize that the main dominant language that is used there is Kiswahili. So it's something that all East Africans are encouraged to learn if they are thinking of moving outside their homes and get to the market. I just want to give a few examples within East Africa. When you look at our countries, apart from the Republic of Rwanda and the Republic of Burundi, where Kirundi and Kinyarwanda are the common languages within those countries, there is no other East African country where you can use one language and you are able to communicate to all the masses within that country. It is the United Republic of Tanzania, through introduction of Kiswahili, that has managed to unite over 120 tribes within Tanzania, and now they can effectively communicate and use Kiswahili. So this is the language, one, that has the majority of speakers in East Africa. I've already said over 90 million, which we should promote, which we should pick interest in if we are to do business across East Africa and globally. Now, considering the benefits that arise out of the use of Kiswahili, what is it that East African Kiswahili Commission is doing to promote the use of Kiswahili? At the community level, we have worked on different programs to facilitate the teaching and learning of Kiswahili in our partner states. And the one that is mostly applicable for this event is the one that we have developed for Rwanda. It is Kiswahili for small and medium enterprises. We have developed a program that is ready for rollout, and that's the program that we want each and every partner state to take on. It's ready. I think the Republic of Rwanda should be in the processes of rolling it out. But again, because it's a program that was developed by East African Kiswahili Commission, this is the program that we are taking to all the partner states, because it directly affects the ordinary citizens. These people who need Kiswahili to survive, who need Kiswahili for trade, who need Kiswahili for any other business. We have not only developed that, all the partner states have got programs. Like for Uganda, we have developed a program targeting parliamentarians. You might ask yourselves why we target parliamentarians. It's because of the role that they play in development. Anything that happens within a country, it goes through the parliament, and once it is supported, because I know it's going to be an expensive business to make sure that every partner state, every member, for example, every individual in Uganda learns Kiswahili. It's going to be an expensive venture, and therefore we need the support of the parliament. And this can only be easily availed when you bring them on board. And we have done the same with Kenya. When it comes to South Sudan, I think South Sudan is the only country in East Africa where Kiswahili is kind of not widely spoken. When you look at their education institutions, like universities, they don't have Kiswahili programs. And what we have done, and because the government of South Sudan has already decided that Kiswahili be taught in schools at secondary school level, we have developed a program to train secondary school teachers so that they are able to teach Kiswahili in secondary schools. When it comes to Burundi, the Republic of Burundi, for anyone who goes through school, in Burundi you must learn Kiswahili. So Kiswahili is the subject, and you must learn it. That's why when you are on the streets of Bujumbura and you speak in Kiswahili, you will be able to communicate. It's because of deliberate efforts by government to make sure that everyone who goes through school speaks Kiswahili. But as the Kiswahili Commission, we are not only interested in those that go to school. We are also interested in those that are not in school and they need it for business, they need it for survival. That's why we developed that program that targets people who are outside the education setup. And for Tanzania, we developed a program that helps those who know Kiswahili, those who teach Kiswahili, to teach Kiswahili to foreigners. Like when you go there as a foreigner, you don't use Kiswahili as your first language. Then we have developed a program that trains those Kiswahili teachers to teach foreigners. Why it is very important? I want to share with you something that is that maybe very many people do not know. When you see tourists coming here in Uganda, wherever in East Africa, before they come, they have to go some kind of orientation. And this orientation involves teaching them some of the dominant languages that are spoken in those languages. And mainly for East African tourists, they are taken through Kiswahili. So you can imagine here we normally say that tourism is contributing a lot to our development. But you as a small and medium enterprises person who is selling your art pieces, who is selling your small things, you need a language that you will be able to use with these tourists. Most of these tourists speak some Kiswahili. So if all of us can have some kind of Kiswahili, then we should be able to sell to them. They either come speaking French, speaking English, and those other Western languages, which we cannot speak. So the only opportunity we have is to learn Kiswahili and be able to communicate to them for the purposes of doing business. Because we are not on the ground to do all of this, so what we do, we work with the different associations. There are associations in every partner state that help to promote the teaching and learning of Kiswahili. In every partner state, like I've said, apart from South Sudan, there are institutions that teach Kiswahili. For example, here in Uganda, you can go to Makerere University and learn Kiswahili. You can go to Chambogo University, you learn Kiswahili. If you are from Western Uganda, you can go to the mountains of the moon. You can go to Bishop Stewart. You can go to Kabale University and learn Kiswahili. In Rwanda, you can go to Huye campus, and its campuses in Kigali, and you'll be able to learn Kiswahili. In Burundi, you can go to University of Burundi and learn Kiswahili. Kenya, almost all colleges and universities, you learn Kiswahili. Tanzania, the same thing. So we are trying also to work with the University of Juba to have a program for Kiswahili. But you can see most of these universities are for people who are in school. So we are in the process of having centers of excellence that have scheduled and unscheduled Kiswahili programs, where you can walk in and have a tailor-made program and be able to speak Kiswahili. We are not interested in this, for people who are not in a school setting. we are not interested in having this serious Kiswahili. We can have programs that will help you make a sale, that will help you talk to a colleague. So we are coming up with these centers of excellence where those who are interested in learning Kiswahili, and I urge you to get interested in Kiswahili because it's a tool in doing business, it's an opportunity, so that you can be able to go there and learn some of the things that can help you do your business, move out of your country, and be able to interact and have some other business engagements. Here, I think this is a brief of what we do.
Asante sana Kiswahili Commission. Nataka kusummarize tu vile amesema. Amesema commission ipo kuendeleza lugha ya Kiswahili. Ipo kuendeleza lugha ya Kiswahili. Na amesema lugha ya Kiswahili ndio lugha ya mawasiliano. Hapa kwetu Afrika ya Mashariki amesema ya kwamba ukiwa umejua Kiswahili utaweza kuongea, kuwasiliana mahali popote pale. Hata ukienda dukani utaweza kuuliza kitu kwa lugha ya Kiswahili. Na amesema wameweka miradi maalum kila mahala. Na nimefurahi kusikia kwamba hata South Sudan wameshaingia na wameanza mambo ya kuendeleza Kiswahili huko. Hata kule Kiswahili kinazungumzwa kama Tanzania kwenyewe, amesema bado kuna miradi ya kuendeleza Kiswahili kinachofaa kwa mahitaji yao. Na amesema tena, kwa nyinyi mnaofanya biashara ndogo ndogo, Kiswahili ni muhimu kwenu sana. Kwa sababu lazima ukienda hapo kwa soko, lazima usungumuzie bei. Itakuwa pesa ngapi? Hii bidhaa utanipatia ngapi? Lazima ujue kila Kiswahili kitakusaidia kununua, ujue bei ni ngapi, ujue kuhesabu, mkubaliane. Kwa hivyo Kiswahili ni muhimu kwetu sote. Na nataka kusisitiza ya kwamba iwapo hata watu ambao wanatoka Afrika ya Mashariki wameanza kujifunza Kiswahili, Afrika ya Kusini wameanza kujifunza Kiswahili, itakuwaje na sisi hapa East Africa kwenyewe tusianze kujifunza Kiswahili? Ni muhimu tujue Kiswahili kwa sababu ndio kinatufanya tuwasiliane kwa viwango fulani. Hawasemi unasoma Kiswahili ili upate degree. Hajasema hivyo. Amesema usome Kiswahili ili uwasiliane na wenzako hapa Afrika ya Mashariki. Ujue Kiswahili ili ufanye biashara zako. Na wengine wangeuliza, kwani commission ya Kiswahili inafanya nini na sisi tunajua Kiswahili? Ameelezea. South Sudan wanahitaji Kiswahili, Uganda wanahitaji Kiswahili, hata Tanzania kwenyewe bado wanahitaji Kiswahili commission iendeleze vitu fulani hapa na pale. Nitamruhusu mwenzangu MC afanye utafsiri kwa lugha ya Luganda. Baadaye nitapeana nafasi kidogo ya kuuliza maswali mawili matatu. MC.
Basebo ne banyabo omukuru oyo wedda gwetuulira ava mu kitongole kya East African Community kyebayita Swahili Commission. Lwaki ekitongole kino weekiri? Kubanga ffe abali mu East Africa lwe lulimi olugenda okutwanguyira okukozesa mu by'obusuubuzi. Ndowooza olwedde mulaba obuzibu obuli wano nti boogera wano ne tubanga tetuwulira nga twetaaga omuntu okutuddiramu. Ate nga okukola business okusobola okusuubula mu East Africa ojja kwetaaga okukozesa Oluswahili. Kubanga we twogerera abantu abawera emiliyoni 9 mu East Africa boogera Oluswahili. abantu abawera miliyoni 2 mu Africa yonna boogera Oluswayiri. Bw'ogenda mu West Africa batandise okweyigiriza Oluswayiri. Bw'ogenda mu South Africa batandise okuyiga Oluswayiri. Kati abaffe gw'onookola otya business mu mawanga gano gonna nga tovuddeeyo okulaba nti nno tuyiga Oluswayiri. Yensonga lwaki abatukulembera bateekawo akakiiko okulaba nga kayigiriza n'okukuza Oluswayiri lubenga lwe lulimi lwe tusobola okuwuliziganyaamu, kubanga olwedde we twogerera abantu bangi nnyo aboogera olulimi Oluswayiri. Kakati nno batandise okukola programs ez'enjawulo okulaba nga batuyigiriza Oluswayiri. Kumpi mu buli nsi balina programs ze bataddeyo. Bw'ogenda e Burundi balina programs ze bataddeyo. Bw'ogenda e Rwanda balina programs ze bataddeyo. Bw'ojja wano e Uganda batandise ne bannaffe aba members ba parliament okulaba nga bayiga Oluswayiri. Era bwe twali wano ne Prime Minister yatutegeeza nti buli lwa bbalaza batandika na kuyiga Oluswayiri. So olw'okuba nti nno twetaaga okuyiga Oluswayiri, ojja kwesanga nti universities zaffe mu Uganda, bw'ogenda e Makerere, bw'ogenda e Kyambogo, ate bataddewo ne centers of excellence, gy'osobola ogenda n'osoma Oluswayiri. So ebigendererwa byakutusobozesa kuliziganya na bannaffe wano, era nga Oluswayiri gye bujja bwe tunaaba tetulimanyi tujja kulemererwa okukola business. Gwe mulimu gw'abakulu bano gwe bataddewo. Tweyanziza nnyo ebibuuzo.
Asante sana MC. Tumefika sasa wakati wa maswali, na naona kuna mkono hapo tayari, mpatie kipaza sauti basi.
Thank you, the presenter. I'm Birabosa, Chairperson, Simso Uganda chapter. I'm from Uganda, automatically. Mine might not be a question, but an observation in Uganda as far as Kiswahili is concerned. We have a historical background whereby Swahili in Uganda used to be associated with people who were doing bad things, thieves, soldiers in the past and others, whereby so many years the soldiers, at least who used to do unfriendly things, at least the current regime, it is not as it used to be, using Swahili at least to torture people. Now, how are we going to demystify that thinking that Swahili is associated with that one? And again, we have a language which is Luganda in Uganda, which is almost a commercial, becoming a commercial language, that if you don't use Luganda, or if you want to sell anything, you must use Luganda. So now I'm finding a bit of problem, some problem in Uganda when really Kiswahili, though they are trying, they are best in schools and other ways, but that thinking and that association of Kiswahili to those thieves and others, it is still within the people. What are you planning really to remove that or to demystify that thinking, so that Swahili, because you talked of Swahili being taught to private people, not even in school, despite of the fact that in Uganda, Swahili is the language which is supposed to be taught in schools. But you find that even in schools, the students themselves, they have that negative way of at least trying to learn Swahili because of all those associations and because of their parents being negative to Swahili.
Kuna maswali ingine? Is there any other question about Swahili? Yes, madam.
Thank you, presenter. I'm Jane Gordon, South Sudan chairperson, South Sudan chapter. Thank you for the program. You said you are planning, or you have already started with the University of Juba about the Swahili. And then my issue is that I'm challenged with the SMEs. When we go for trade fair like this, we are facing a lot of problem because of the language. For selling, we only have few exhibitors who stayed in Kenya. At least now they are helping us, but most of us, we don't know. So I don't know how you are going to help this, and we need to discuss this further so that it can be well known for the exhibitors. We have a background of Arabic, which is nearly related to Swahili, to be easier for us to understand. Thank you.
Waliwo mulala abuuza ku Swahili. If I may also have this opportunity. Yeah, okay.
Thank you, presenter. Mine is just on publications that are translated into Swahili. There's one very good book that we used to see at Secretariat in Kinyarwanda and Kiswahili. In some of the exhibitions like this one, it used to be a very hot cake. So probably maybe this is a proposal that in such kind of gathering, you're in Uganda, you have a translated version of such kind of book in Uganda and Kiswahili. I think you are in South Sudan, as she mentioned, you have such kind of book in Kiswahili and Arabic. You go to Burundi, you have that same book in Kirundi or French and Kiswahili. So we have seen those kind of publications very helping to small people, I mean those who are in this kind of business, to be able to cross the border to speak some few Swahili. And then you mentioned about the universities, but maybe it is to highlight in partner states what is the plan for primary and secondary schools, because now the young people need to really come, by the time they reach university, they are able to speak Kiswahili. Those are my comments.
Thank you very much. She asked what I'd wanted to ask. I do speak quite a number of Ugandan languages, plus Swahili. And those languages I didn't go to school to learn, but I picked them as a young kid. So in the long term, I imagine that the children, the young children, unlike the elders, yes, they can pick this easy, but for the children, it is very easy to pick. So I was asking what you have in the long term for the children, the primary schools, because starting at university, that could be too late. And it is okay, but still, with primary, I think it is much easier for the long term. How about the media? How can the media help? I come from a broadcasting house where we broadcast only in Uganda. But I had a segment where I used to invite a Kenyan called Kasioki to my program and give in about 10 minutes to teach people to call in and ask about certain words. And it was really, really a very good program. You'd find that people are so interested to learn. Is there any way you are planning to use the media, the broadcasting houses to teach Swahili? Yeah, I hope those can do. Then also, you said that the summit decided that on coming of DRC, that we should maintain French is now an official language, and I guess English is an official. Isn't that a contradiction for promoting Swahili? If we really want to promote Swahili, should we keep these foreign languages as our official languages? Shouldn't Swahili be the only official language? And these can be secondary languages, English and French.
Thank you so much for these wonderful questions. I want to start with the first one from Bosa. Basically, he's talking about the attitude towards the Kiswahili, the negative attitude towards the Kiswahili that people have, more especially Ugandans, due to the historical backgrounds that are related to people who used to torture others, and they are using this language. They would speak in the Kiswahili, the Pandagali kind of thing. And because of this background, most people do not want to associate themselves with the Kiswahili. And it has a lot to do with mindset change. When you look at the principles of adult learning, adults learn not because they find it very interesting being in a learning environment, but they learn because of a given motivation that is available. And for the case of Kiswahili, I'm telling you that within a few years to come, it will be very challenging for you to transact without a little bit of knowledge of Kiswahili. If you want to cross the borders, even within the borders themselves, you will need this kind of Kiswahili. If you are from here, the central, personally, I'm from Uganda, but if I could speak my language, I know you will not be able to pick it. So if I'm doing business with you, how are we going to transact? I will speak my language, you will speak yours, and we shall be just there. There will be no business. I will come and ask, how much is this? And you cannot respond. You will not get what I'm saying. And now what's going to be the future of our business? But the question that you have asked is about the negative attitude. So we are doing a lot of sensitization for mindset change in the first place. And this does not only happen in Uganda. We were talking to one of the parliamentarians from Burundi, and this is what she said, that you would not speak any Kiswahili word at home because they would relate it to a colleague here talked of coming from ghetto. You know, now the attitude that relates to ghetto, people tend to think that if you say you are from ghetto, you are a ghetto person, you are being attached to those bad things that happen in the ghetto. So when you say you are from ghetto, someone starts thinking, is this person the kind of a person I should relate with? So even in Kiswahili, the other side in Burundi, you would speak a Kiswahili word and the parents are like, no, we don't want to hear that in our home. So the same thing here. When you speak Kiswahili, they will say, this guy must be a thug. But we are looking at Kiswahili as a product, as a tool that can help us do business. So we have to do a lot of sensitization, talk to these people, have a lot of programs that try to change that kind of mindset, that kind of attitude towards the Kiswahili, so that they can take it up not as a language of torture, but a language that is going to help them live a better life. So that's the only thing we can do. And we can do that by having different programs by the government, by the media, by different associations, by different community leaders, such that they let these people know about the benefits of Kiswahili. It is very true. It is very true that people are a bit negative about Kiswahili, but we can change them. That negativity can be changed by the benefits that this language brings on board. Maybe when you look at the historical background, how this Kiswahili came on board, it could be the same thing. Some people say that this was a language that that came about as a result of slave trade. When they get people from hinterland and then put them somewhere at the coast in those islands, then the language that they started speaking is the language that gave birth to Kiswahili. Some people have that kind of narrative. I think we can do a lot of sensitization to change this mindset. The next question by Gordon, that we have talked of a program with the University of Juba. It's not a program with the University of Juba. Maybe this should be a correction. It's a program for the government of the Republic of South Sudan to teach Kiswahili to secondary school teachers. And because Kiswahili programs are mainly domiciled in different universities and colleges in the partner states, we are saying we are exploring ways of having a program with the University of Juba. It is not yet in place. The program that is in place for South Sudan is for teaching secondary school teachers to be able to teach Kiswahili. Then you talked of Arabic. It's very true. There are some similarities between Kiswahili and Arabic. And we are told that around 30%, they have 30% similarities. So it is easier for that to be done. But again, when you look at the policy framework for South Sudan, Arabic, Kiswahili, and some other languages have also been considered as foreign languages. They have ranked them from number 1 to number 4 as foreign languages. But they prefer, because of East African community, they prefer learning or introducing learning Kiswahili than Arabic, because Arabic is already taught in school. It is already there in the school. But Kiswahili is not there. So they want to put a lot of emphasis in the teaching and learning of Kiswahili. I think that sorts out that. Then the third one from EAC talked of the translated version of books. It is true. These books, there were 5,000 copies that were printed by EAC, and the author is Malonga Pacifique. He's a Rwandan. But this book is very interesting. It is Kiswahili, English. Now he has Kiswahili, English, and French. Kiswahili, English, and Luganda. He partnered with, I think, a Ugandan scholar, and they have that version that has Kiswahili, English, and Luganda. So you can have a copy of that book, and like she suggested, I think on events like this one, we should be able to have a good number of copies such that people are able to have access to such kind of books. And we were together, I think, a few months back, and he was planning to have one in all the official languages of EAC together. So I think in the near future we shall have a variety of those books that can be available to people. Then also Kiswahili in primary schools. I think it's a government policy for the government of Uganda. Kiswahili has been made a compulsory subject. Previously it was a subject but an optional subject. But now it's been made a compulsory subject. And right away from primary school, it's a program that the government of Uganda is starting. And like I've told you, in Burundi, they have already done that. It's there. In Kenya, there is Kiswahili in primary schools. In Tanzania, the same thing. But for South Sudan, why Kiswahili is not in primary schools, it's because of capacity. The teachers, even the ones that are there who we are targeting, are the teachers that trained from Kenya. They studied Kiswahili, they learned Kiswahili, but they are teaching right now in South Sudan, but different subjects. So we want to reorient them to be able to teach Kiswahili in secondary schools. And the reason South Sudan gave for starting with secondary school, we had a similar concern. Why are you starting with the secondary schools, yet you are supposed to start from the lower level? And they are like, it's because of capacity issues. We want people who can go through school quickly and come back now as teachers to be able to now to roll down Kiswahili in primary schools. The last question, I think, is for the MC about media. Kiswahili Commission works a lot with media associations. There are media associations in all partner states, and there is also a regional media association for the EAC. And I would encourage you to join at least the national chapter for the regional association and also the national association for the media. You can talk to Akol Mazima, who is working with the UBC. think he's the chairperson for the National Kiswahili Association for the Media. You can talk to him, and you should be able to join their programs. So we are working a lot with the media, and they can do great work when it comes to publicity. Actually, in most of our meetings in the partner states, wherever we go to partner states, we have these media programs. The team leader normally there is an arrangement for the team leader to get the national broadcaster and talk to people about what we are doing, the importance of learning Kiswahili, and the steps we are taking as the Kiswahili Commission towards the promotion and development of Kiswahili. Then you talked about the contradiction for having many languages. Someone might look at it as a contradiction. Why bring on board French? Why continue using English when we are looking at promoting Kiswahili as our own language now? It's not a contradiction, but because of diversity, we need all these languages. And maybe the reason as to why the Kiswahili Commission was put in place, the reason as to why we are not having a French Commission, why we are not having an English Commission, it's because of the importance and the priority attached to Kiswahili as our own language, as our own indigenous language. So it's not a contradiction, but we need these languages. Someone was talking of development partners. I don't know if you are to say that we don't want to use English, we don't want to use French, and you are talking of mobilizing support from development partners. I don't know if you'll have to teach them Kiswahili first for you to be able to talk to them in Kiswahili. So I think these languages are complementary and they help us. The first question had something to do with Uganda. I think it's one of the things that I left out. Kiswahili is coming on board as a complementary language, not a language that is substituting other indigenous languages. You talked of how Kiswahili is the dominant language, for example, here in the central region, which is very true. But I also urge you to get to Kikubo down here. You will get surprised. How will you speak to a Congolese? How will you speak to a Burundian? How will you speak to a Tanzanian? When you get there, you will find people using Kiswahili, and that's why we need Kiswahili, mainly for trade and business. So Kiswahili is not coming to displace Kinyarwanda, to displace Kirundi, to displace Kikuyu, to displace whichever language that is there. It is coming to complement those languages for us to be able to freely interact and do trade. Chair, I submit.
Thank you very much. I think that was elaborate enough, and I'm running short of time, so I will not allow any more questions, but I want to say this. There is nothing you receive, you succeed on without pain. We have to learn Swahili. Number two, for Uganda, we have to have a change of mindset, because the many young people I'm seeing around were not there when the policemen were misusing Swahili. So the old people should not continue telling the young people about the bad things of Swahili. They should be the ones telling them, mtoto wangu Swahili luka mzuri, tufurahie Kiswahili. Basi watoto waone the positive side of Swahili than the negative historical perspectives. Number two, for POSA, I was thinking you are going to tell Swahili Commission, I'm coming to talk to you so that we have a project to implement a Swahili training session for my business people in Uganda. That you are going to tell government and development partners that you have realized it has dawned on you that Swahili is very important. You want a special program for the business people. But I want to say this. If you want to continue trading in Kampala, okay, continue with Uganda. If you want to trade in East Africa, learn Kiswahili. Ladies and gentlemen, I want now to invite the speaker for Esteco to come and tell us what they do and how they impact on us. Welcome.
Thank you, MC. My name is Muyambi Fortunate. I'm the Deputy Executive Secretary of Science and Technology Commission in charge of projects and program. Esteco, which is Science and Technology Commission, is also one of the specialized institutions of East African community based in Kigali for advancing science, technology, and innovation applications in the region. And our mandate is to promote, manage the application and development of science and technology and innovation in the region for socio-economic development and regional integration. And we are also mandated to develop policies, science and technology and innovation policies, leverage technology applications in various sectors, including agriculture, including industry, energy, environment, and other key sectors. Esteco promotes the use of science and technology in micro, media, and small enterprises. And in so doing, we also promote, support export-oriented industry development and trade by facilitating access to institutions and technologies. And these ones play a big role in enhancing technological capacities, building in micro and small enterprises by developing these policy framework that are enabling environment for the thriving of businesses in the region. Esteco is also very instrumental in instituting mechanisms to enhance private sector participation in the industry, research and development, and also coordinate the identification of strategic areas for providing competitive advantage for the region through creation of network of technology transfers from one partner state to another or from one institution to another, and also promoting linkages of research and development within the region. Without technology, some of the industries where we have developed robotic artificial intelligence that are being used in the industry for ease of work and also for ease of communication within the businesses, it has made it very easy for business people and institutions and companies to do production in the industries and also add value to the products that are being actually displayed and sold in the region. How are we promoting micro, small, medium enterprises sector in East Africa? Esteco has developed the STI policy that promotes the use of innovation that help SMEs to improve their productivity and produce better with less expensive production. We have also promoted the technology use in the manufacturing sector, specifically in scientific and research development, and this technology have saved businesses millions of shillings or dollars by investing in the machines that are than a workforce of people. We have also promoted the use of emerging technologies like Internet of Things that has enabled companies in EAC to offer sales online, which has significantly improved the sale of most of the companies and businesses. We have also promoted cloud technologies that have given SMEs the ability to process big data, which has further helped to understand the customer pain point as well as their preferences. Everybody is online. Everybody is exhibiting and marketing online, which is technology enabled. And also we have done also capacity building for SMEs in entrepreneurship skills development, for business incubators, young innovators, startups, and accelerators. So we have a program for capacity building entrepreneurship, for business development, for innovators, and business incubators. We have also have a program on ICT, which is information communication technology, that has promoted ICT in the region to reshape the business models of SMEs in strengthening their competitiveness, performances, productive and quality. Those are for small scale industries, and for big industries for growth and competitiveness. What is the future of SMEs in the EAC as envisioned by the STECO, by Science and Technology and Innovation? We shall continue to support the development and growth of small and medium enterprises through provision of essential science and technology services and infrastructure. We are also currently developing an EAC regional digital strategy that will ensure transition of EAC region into a single digital economy central that will bring in benefits of digital transformation, such as foster economic growth, deeper regional integration, and many other programs that will be coming henceforth. Ladies and gentlemen, STECO is one of the institutions that will be advancing technologies in the industry, and we have created a network of regional research organizations, including in Kenya we have Kenya Industry Development Organization, in Tanzania we have TIRIDO, in Uganda we have ULI, and many other these technology institutions in the region for advancing technology in the industry development. These will include various additions to products, and also advancing the use of bioresources, which we call bioeconomy, into the region for the use of bioresources, innovations that will impact on health, that is the pharmaceutical, on agriculture, various addition products, and also on energy, involving the new technologies for energy savings in the region. At STECO, we have also other programs that we are running, which are online, and we are helping our institutions in the region in terms of dissemination of technological information, and also products to various sectors in the region. And we have also a journal which actually now is advancing to disseminate technological information to all the research and development companies that will add value and also increase the efficiency and effectiveness of the use of the applications in the region. I thank you all. Thank you.
Asante sana. Kwa ufupi, amesema STECO inahusika na sayansi na teknolojia na ubunifu. Yale yote wanafanya ni kumwezesha nyinyi wafanyabiashara wadogo na wengine na serikali kutumia sayansi vilivyo, kutumia teknolojia vilivyo, na kuendeleza wabunifu ili kusitisha umuhimu wa bidhaa mnazotengeneza kwa njia yoyote ile. Kwa hivyo wafanyabiashara, mkitaka mengi, amesema yameandikwa, kuna vile unaweza kusoma mwenyewe, kuna masomo wanaendeleza. Na kama una maswali utauliza baada ya kupata utafsiri kwa lugha ya Luganda. MC
basebone banyabo mu bufunze omukuru yava waguru ava mu kitongole ekya Science and Technology Commission ekya East Africa ekyatekebwawo okulaba nga tukuza science ne teknolojia naddala nga tukola emirimu gyaffe. bakola ebintu bingi okusitula omutindo ogw'ebintu byetukola oba byetulina katale, naye nga ekigendererwa kwe kulaba nga tukozesa tekinologiya ne science, naddala nga tukola ebintu byetuteeka ku katale tusobole okuvuganya n'abantu abalala. Tukozese tekinologiya mu busuubuzi, okugeza nga bannaffe abakozesa internet. Mukimanyi nti internet tekinologiya oyinza okwagala okuwuliziganya ne banno mu byobusuubuzi, olwo ojja kwesanga nti weetaaga tekinologiya. Bingi nnyo byensobola okwogerako, naye bagamba nti basomesa okulaba nga tukuza omutindo ogwa science ne tekinologiya mu East Africa, mu regioni eno, era nga bannaffe bano ekitebe kyabwe kiri Burundi. Naye bw'oba oyagala okusoma osobola okubatuukirira ne bakuyigiriza ne basoma mu bufunzo obw'ekitalo kyekyo kyabadde ayogerako. Twenza.
Haya, ni wakati wa maswali sasa. Questions, if you have got any question.
Yes, good morning. My name is Abed Mpungu. I have a question to the presenter. You've really laid out very good policies as East Africa towards improving technology and the use of technology. But we're having one challenge, that is how the technology is regulated. As young people, many we have embraced on use of technology to try to build ourselves, but not all of us are doing the same, because there are very many sites on the platforms that we are having for the technology which are actually destroying and not building young people in this economy. So as East Africa, I don't know whether you can try to borrow a leaf from other countries like China and US that has actually restricted some of the sites that people are using, and the contents that they get are not actually the ones that are destructive compared to what we have here. So what are you going to do to regulate on that? Because it would be hard for us to know that the products are existing when we cannot actually visit those sites because they are not popular. So what are you going to do to make sure that the sites are popularized and the business is moving on well? Thank you.
Any other question?
Good morning. I'm Florence Mogera. A lot of businessmen and men here want to learn Swahili. And Swahili is like a service. We've got a lot of offices around. Why isn't it that on occasions like this one, we make an office for Swahili, in that because we don't get time for reading books. Sometimes we can, I heard somebody talking about books. Sometimes we can throw away the books. Sometimes we put them in our own documents and we forget them. But if it is a service that people come here to just teach Swahili, some of us get time when we are here with many people and we learn Swahili. Thank you. It's a suggestion.
I don't know how to relate that to science and technology. I don't know who, but maybe to put it in perspective, how do we use technology to learn Swahili, maybe? I want to relate that to that. Any other question? Any other question? Kuna maswali ingine ama kuna?
Thank you very much for the questions. Yes, technology comes with its own disadvantages, but what we have tried to do is to create awareness. And also there are restrictions on some of these websites, and also these damaging web pages or information that is countries have come up with laws against such. misconducts of use of social media, and also visiting websites which are very unpleasant. And we shall continue to create more awareness, especially from the primary, nursery until the high level, for the better use of the technologies. Obviously, there are some areas where you cannot reach, but we shall try to do our best for creating awareness against such misuse of technologies and also information, and leveraging on the already national policies and laws that are within the country. We have the misuse of computer here in Uganda, misuse of social media acts. They have been enacted in 2 row. We shall also continue to have more restrictions of these web pages access into the East African region. And we hope that the use of science and technology innovation is for you to effectively utilize these applications for your own good, especially in manufacturing and adding value addition innovations into bioproducts that can help for socio-economic development, first of all at the regional level, the national level, and also at the household income level. So awareness creation, restrictions, and also acts that are within these partner states will help us to curb such disadvantaged access to unwanted technologies or information. Thank you.
Sorry, I always want to give other people to ask questions, but if you don't mind, I would love to ask this one too. There is a young man here who has fabricated a solar vehicle in our local way. And when you're talking about science and technology, sometimes it's way above of what the Juakalis might need at this level. I see like that small car there. If somebody is going to ferry, if such people are supported, he can ferry, our small business person can ferry to the market all his products at a very cheap. And these are very cheap productions. How do we help, how does Science and Technology Commission help such people, like the man who has this fabricated vehicle here, the solar vehicle that can move at 40 kilometers per hour and uses energy like that? How do we support them to multiply such vehicles that our people can afford? It could go for, say, 12 million, 15, as compared to those that would go for 300 million or whatever. How do we help them?
Thank you, MC. Actually, that was my last point to say. We have what we call innovation program at the East African region. And actually, 2 weeks ago, we in this same place advancing innovations for the youth in the region. And not only that, we help them to pitch their innovations, mentor them, and also facilitate them to commercialize. That is now, once he has developed like this solar motor vehicle, we take him to attach him to the industry that is making cars, for him to further process and commercialize this solar vehicle into a product that can be even scaled to other partner states. Now, we also do business development for them, and we started with formal. Now we are going to go for informal sector, because we realized that such a people who are innovative don't know even how to write a proposal and put up a good material that can be competitive with other people who know how to write. So we are now in formal sector, but we are now going to go into informal sector, and this is the area where we are going to target those who, the Juakalis who are in Chikubo down there in the Katwe fabricating. We want to target those ones for innovation. We support them to commercialize and also develop their business development models that can help them to do more production of such innovations. It is something that has been lagging behind the support of informal sector for innovations because they cannot describe their model or their innovations into a product that can be put up there for sale. Secondly, people's innovations have been stolen. We want to have these innovators register their patent, their copyrights, their product into a registration, so that they can be sold as somebody's patent, and also get worth in terms of profits out of such products. So those are the programs we have. Also, I've talked about the entrepreneurship, because everybody can do business, but how do you arrange your business? Where do you start and where do you end? How can you present your product to be marketed? So we do business development and also packaging. How do you package your product so that it can be attracted for sale? So we have also such programs that we are going to now start working with, especially the chapter sectors, the chapter chairpersons of each country. We shall reach up to you to identify such informal innovations from these sectors that we can support. Thank you very much.
You know, when the young man asked the question about them going to the wrong sides on the media, I remembered a WhatsApp that was circulating around where a young man had gone to Amkanga, a witch doctor, and he was telling him that the witch doctor should help him to have a Toyota Land Cruiser V8. The witch doctor told him to close his eyes, and he went and looked for a kiboko, a whip. He whipped him thoroughly because he told him, you are still sleeping up to 11 o'clock, 11 a.m., and you want a Land Cruiser V8. In other words, you have to work hard, okay? If you are spending time on those wrong sides, on the Google or whatever you call it, and you think you want to develop, and you think you want to be rich, I think you need a witch doctor to whip you thoroughly. Ladies and gentlemen, in anything we do, however much we like each other, there may be a point where we do not understand each other, we have differences in opinions, or we have a conflict. And this also occurs even in business. It occurs even in the family between husband and wife. Now, in the case of EAC, to try to resolve this kind of issues if they happen, we have got the East African Court of Justice, and I want to invite the speaker to come and talk to you what they do, why they are there, and how they impact on you as small and medium enterprises. Welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Boniface Ogoti, Boniface Namulu Ogoti. I'm here representing the Registrar of the East African Court of Justice, and I'll just be telling you some few things on what the court does. And I'll not be going into the legal jargons. I'll try and deal with just a few topics. That is a bit of history about the court, its structure, the composition, the mandate, that is what the court is allowed to do, who can come to the court, and how it does its operations. I think on each chapter, what I will be doing is that I will be trying my little Kiswahili on every topic to make or to put the point across. Some legal terms may be difficult for you. I'll try and make them simple so that we understand what the court does. Now, without much ado, the court was inaugurated in 2001. And it is created by the Treaty of the East African Community under Article 9 of the treaty, which creates organs and institutions of the community. Maybe before I started talking, there could be some institutions and organs that may have been presented before me, but maybe to make you understand is that the court is one of the organs or one of the arms of the government of the East African Community. This East African Community is like a state where we have three arms of the government. And these three arms, we have the Secretariat, that is the executive arm, and we have the court, that is the judicial arm. Then we have the legislative arm, that is the East African Legislative Assembly. So these are the three arms of the government, and each arm checks the other. So the court is there to make sure that these partner states that have come together adhere to the law. And whatever they do, they should comply with what they have agreed upon in the treaty. The treaty is like an agreement between member states, and they have agreed to cooperate in several areas. They are cooperating in matters of trade, they are cooperating in matters of environment, they are cooperating in matters of infrastructure, they are cooperating in matters of energy, amongst other matters. And in this cooperation, when they have agreed to do things in a way that is set out in the treaty, and they don't comply with this thing, then there are people who can come to the court and challenge what they have done. So this court, when it is established under the treaty, it is different from the old court that was there in the defunct East African Community, the community that collapsed. The community that collapsed had what we called the East Africa Court of Appeal. And the East Africa Court of Appeal, you would appeal from the national level at the magistrate court or the local court to the high court at the national level, to the Court of Appeal at the national level, to the Supreme Court at the national level, and to the final court that was the East Africa Court of Appeal. So it used to be the apex court of the community. And there are other countries which had left out other issues that cannot go to the East African Court of Appeal, matters of treason. And especially Tanzania said, matters of treason, you cannot go to the East African Court of Appeal. Now, the current East African Court of Justice, its mandate is only to interpret the treaty and make sure that these partner states that have come together comply with what they have agreed under the treaty. Kwa hiyo kwa ufupi nachosema ni kwamba mahakama ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki ni kitengo kimoja cha Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, serikali ya Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Na mahakama hii ilizinduliwa mwaka 2001 na inazinduliwa kulingana na mkataba waliosaini ambao tunaita treaty katika kipengele namba 9. So mahakama hii wakati inazinduliwa ina uwezo wa kufanya baadhi ya kesi ambazo zinaletwa mbele yake, ina uwezo wa kusikiliza kesi kulingana na kile ambacho nchi zimekubaliana katika mkataba wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. So, when it started in 2001, it started as a one-chamber court. We had 3 partner states at that time: Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. Each partner state appoints 2 judges to the East African Court of Justice according to the treaty. So the first judges were 6, and from the 3 partner states. Along the way, Rwanda and Burundi joins, South Sudan joins, now Congo has joined. It means these other partner states appoint other judges to join the court. So when Rwanda and Burundi joins, we have 5 partner states, and at that time we had 10 judges. South Sudan comes in, and the treaty of the community, the treaty says that the appellate division shall have a maximum of 5 judges, and the first instance division shall have a maximum of 10 judges. So South Sudan appoints 1 judge because there is no vacancy in the appellate division. Now, to make you understand what appellate and first instance division is, when the court started as a 1-chamber court, it triggered the amendment of the treaty, the court itself, by a decision it made, where it stopped one organ of the community from functioning, the East African Legislative Assembly. How did it do this? It did this by giving an injunction stopping the representatives from Kenya who had been elected in quotes, because it was, the treaty says it's supposed to be an election, but they did an appointment. They went and sat somewhere and appointed people. So the court, in hearing the matter, stopped the swearing in of members from Kenya. And what that meant is that there was not going to be a session, because the rules of the assembly says all member states should be represented. And the culprit was Kenya. And at that time, Kenya was the chairperson of the summit. So they asked, how can this happen? Can't we appeal this decision? And they're told, no, the court is a 1-chamber court. You cannot appeal. You cannot go anywhere. So they get amused. How can this happen? We created an organ that is that powerful that it makes just a decision once, and that is final. So, and there were also some judges who were seated there. They had issues back home. And this is a matter that had happened in April. These guys come in November. So the summit directs the council to amend the treaty immediately. And the treaty was amended within 14 days. And the court was reconstituted into 2 divisions, the first instance division and the appellate division. So that if you are not satisfied in the first instance division, you go to the appellate division. So that's how the 2 divisions came into making. And when a partner state appoints judges, one goes to the first instance division, another one goes to the appellate division. But now that the partner states are increasing, and the treaty still says appellate division should have 5 judges, now it means the other partner states that are coming in are forced to appoint 1 judge in the first instance division, because that is where there's vacancy. The treaty says a maximum of 10, and not appoint in the appellate. So that's why we have South Sudan having 1 judge. Congo coming in now may also be forced to appoint maybe 1 judge, or if they appoint 2, they will all go to the first instance division. And I think the appointments will be done soon when the summit sits. Kwa hiyo kwa ufupi nasema mahakama hii ina vitengo viwili, mahakama ya kwanza na mahakama ya pili, na kilichotokea ni kwamba mahakama yenyewe ndiyo ilisababisha treaty hii kurekebishwa ili kuwe na mahakama 2. Mahakama ya mwanzo mahali unaanza, unafaili kesi, usiporidhika unaenda mahakama ya pili ambayo ni mahakama ya rufaa. Kwa hiyo katika mahakama hii wanapoteua majaji kutoka kila nchi inateua majaji 2, jaji moja anaenda mahakama ya mwanzo, jaji wa pili anaenda mahakama ya rufaa. Na kwa sasa kwa sababu treaty inasema mahakama ya rufaa itakuwa na majaji 5 na mahakama ya mwanzo itakuwa na majaji 10, nchi zinazojiunga kwa sasa hivi zina 2 ambazo zimejiunga baada ya Burundi na Rwanda, zina nchi ya 6 na nchi ya 7, inakuwa ni kwamba wanateua jaji mmoja kwa mahakama ya mwanzo, wakisubiria uwezekano wa kubadilisha mkataba huo ili idadi ya majaji kwenye mahakama ya pili iongezeke. Ikija kuongezeka, basi kutakuwa na uwezekano wa nchi zote kuwakilishwa na majaji katika mahakama hii. Lakini bado kuna mjadala tena ambao unasema kwamba kwani itakuwa ni kwamba kila nchi itapoingia jumuiya inateua jaji? Mbona tusiende jinsi ya Africa Court ambayo wanateua majaji kutoka kila region na idadi inabaki ile ile? Kwa hiyo ni kitu ambacho wanajadili na watakuja kukiangalia hapo baadaye. Kwa hiyo wanapoteua majaji, kuna jaji moja ambao anakuwa kiongozi. And in coming back to the composition is that when they appoint judges, out of those judges, in the appellate division, we have a judge that is appointed to become the president of the court, who is the overall head of the court. In the first instance division, we have a judge that we call the principal judge, who directs the work of the first instance division. So there's no way the president of the court, who heads the appellate division, will interfere with the work of the first instance division. The first instance division is controlled by the principal judge, who directs the work of the first instance division. Ni kwamba mahakama ina jaji kiongozi, mahakama ya mwanzo ina jaji kiongozi, na mahakama ya rufaa ina jaji pia ambayo anaongoza mahakama ya rufaa. Na kiongozi mkuu wa mahakama yote ni anaitwa rais wa mahakama, ambao position yake inakuwa ni ya mzunguko. This position of president is rotational. Kwamba there is a president from, the first president was from Kenya, he served his term, he left. The second president was from Uganda, served his term, left, and it is rotational. So, talking about terms, these judges that are appointed serve a term of 7 years, which is not renewable. And the first group, their term was rotational. So, what is the kind of work that the court does? I have already said the court has what we call jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is maybe, in other terms, is the mandate. The mandate is what are you allowed to do? Which kind of cases are you allowed to do? And I've already touched on this when I said that it is different from the old East African Court of Appeal. It's not like you appeal from the first instance, from the national court to the appellate. This one is different. It is only to deal with matters that they have agreed under the treaty. So the court does that, checking out the partner states by interpreting the treaty. The other area of mandate they have is that they issue advisory opinion. They advise the partner states. They do this through the Council of Ministers, who comes to court, or the Secretary General requesting through the Council of Ministers for advice. Advice will be only on matters under the treaty. Maybe there's something that is under the treaty that they don't understand, but they want advice from the court. A case in example, before I go forward, is what in law we call the principle of variable geometry. What does this mean? Is that when 3 partner states out of this community, out of the 7, or 4 partner states, agree to do something, move forward, and leave the other partner states behind to join them later, is it possible? You remember we had the issue of coalition of the willing, when Kenya and Uganda and Rwanda were doing the standard gauge rail or something, where they wanted it to go through. And Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya were doing it alone. Tanzania was not happy. Who told you we are not willing? Because they were calling themselves coalition of the willing. And Tanzania was asking, who told you we are not willing? This is an East African project. You can't do it alone. We, as a community, you have to tell us what you are doing so that we also make our input. So that is a kind of example of principle of variable geometry, where some partner states want to move on and leave others behind. What the community has been doing is that everything they do, they have to have a consensus. They have to agree, all of them, for them to move forward. But the court is saying, no, you can allow other 3 or 4 or 5 to go ahead and implement what they are implementing, and the others will join them later, because people move at different speeds. So that is on the issue of advisory opinion. The court gave that advice. Another area is the issue of arbitration. The court also sits as an arbitrator. Right here, we are dealing with small business persons, and you may be entering into agreements, contracts, and the treaty says that when you enter into an agreement, you can include a clause in that agreement saying that in case of any dispute it is the East African Court of Justice that will arbitrate between us. So, the treaty allows arbitration between where the partner states themselves have given the court jurisdiction, where the community itself, like now us as the community, we enter into contract with the suppliers and all that. If we have a contract for people who are supplying us some goods and all that, we include a clause there that says in case of any dispute, the Court of Justice, East African Court of Justice, will arbitrate. The last one, and the one that is very important for the business people here, is the one where any party can enter into a contract and include a clause there that in case of any dispute, it is the East African Court of Justice that will arbitrate. This is an area that people don't know about. Maybe we have done little sensitization about it, but this is an opportunity to do that. Business people, when you enter into agreements, you don't need to go to Europe, you don't need to go to London and look for arbitrators there. There's your own arbitrator here to assist you, that is the East African Court of Justice. So that is another area of arbitration where the court can handle cases. I think those basically are the ones that are related to the event here. We have one where you have disputes between the community and its employees. We can take a case to our court. If I have an issue with my employer, I can file a case in the same court. If a national court is faced with a matter that is about interpretation of the treaty, it will come to the court. Kwa hiyo, kwa ufupi nasema kwamba mahakama hii kuna aina za kesi ambazo zinaweza zikafailiwa kwa mahakama hii. Kwanza nimewaeleza kwamba ikiwa nchi hazijakubali zinatenda maneno ambayo hawajakubaliana kwenye mkataba, basi unaweza ukafaili kesi katika mahakama hii. Pili ni kwamba mahakama hii inatoa ushauri kwa vitengo vingine, na tatu ni kwamba kuna issue ya arbitration ambayo unaweza ukaja kwenye mahakama ukasaidiwa, especially wafanyabiashara ambao wako hapa. Mnaingia kwenye mikataba, unataka utoe your goods from maybe Uganda, you want to take your goods to do a business with someone in Kenya or someone in Tanzania, and you have an agreement, and now you are wondering if in case of any dispute, do I file my case in Uganda or do I go and file my case in Kenya? Why don't you put a clause in that agreement saying that in case of any dispute, then we shall go to the East African Court of Justice to arbitrate between us, instead of you saying, okay, I'll file in Uganda, and someone from the businessman in Kenya would say, no, you have filed in your country because you will get favors there. And maybe you file, the other one files in Kenya, and the other one says, no, I can't come to Kenya because we signed our agreement here in Uganda. So it is a good option for you to put there, and you have a regional court that will deal with the matter. Now, who can come to the court? People who can come to the court under the treaty is any individual. Any individual who is resident in the partner states, who is resident in the community. You may be even a Nigerian and you live in Uganda, but you have resident permit. You are a resident of East African community. You can file a case against the government of Uganda. So, any resident of the community can file a case against a partner state or an institution of the community. So, mark the difference. In the former court, maybe you were arrested and charged here. Maybe you stole a chicken, and you go from the national level up to the apex court. This court is not a criminal court. In this court, you are only accusing a government for failing to comply with what they have agreed in the treaty. So you sue a partner state or an institution of the community. And we sue them on what? Maybe the partner state has passed a law that does not comply with what they have agreed in the treaty. Maybe a partner state has issued a directive that does not comply with what is in a treaty. Maybe a partner state has done an action that is not in compliance with the treaty. Let me give you an example. Rule of law. The law of Uganda or the law of Kenya or Rwanda or wherever each partner state says that arrest someone today, take him to court within how many hours? 24 or 48. The policeman in Uganda or the policeman in Tanzania arrest you and keep you in the cell for more than 24 hours and don't take you to court. And under the treaty, these partner states have agreed that we shall comply with the rule of law. There is a provision, Article 6. We agree that we shall comply with the rule of law, good governance, adherence to principles of human rights. So you, a resident who is here in Uganda, who has been arrested and not taken to court, can come to the East African Court of Justice and challenge that what the Republic of Uganda, what the Republic of Tanzania has done is not complying with what they agreed under the treaty. That is one way of coming to court by way of a natural person resident in the partner state. Another person who can come to the court is the partner state itself. The partner state can sue another partner state which has breached the treaty. And when it does that, it comes to the East African Court of Justice. It will be Attorney General of Uganda suing Attorney General of maybe Rwanda or Tanzania. So this is one area where we have not received any case because no partner state has sued another partner state. And you would agree with me because they would want to resolve those issues at a diplomatic level. They wouldn't want to go in public suing each other. So essentially those are the areas that I would want to point out to you, that there are other areas, other persons who can come to the court, maybe the court referring a matter to this court, a national court referring a matter to this court, or me myself, an employee, coming to the court suing my employer. So those are the persons who can come to the court. Now, coming to operations, how does the court operate? We have our headquarters, temporary headquarters in Arusha, and we also have registries. We have, in a way of taking justice closer to the people, we have opened sub-registries in every capital of every partner state, so that you don't need to travel all the way to Arusha to file your case. In Uganda here, you just walk to the Supreme Court here at Kololo. I think now it has closed down because of what happened. There was a fire, but that is where our office is. Walk to the Supreme Court there, file your case there. Immediately we process the documents. You don't need to travel to Arusha. So we have sub-registries. We are in the process of opening another one in South Sudan and Congo, who have joined recently. But the rest, we have sub-registries there. The court sits at least 4 times in a year, hearing cases. So judges come, they sit for 1 month, hear some cases, then go, then they come again, sit for a month, go. The reason why we do that is that the judges appointed are on ad hoc basis. They are not permanent. And that was a transitional thing, because when the court is established, you don't have a lot of work. So transition, you are not permanent there. You'll only be going there when there is work. So we sit 4 times in a year. And we have also started what we call rotational hearings every end of the year. Last month, we were here in Kampala for 1 month, hearing cases. We started that in Burundi last year. So next year we shall be moving to another country. So every year we are doing those rotations. Now, towards now the end, I think I would want to touch on matters of trade that have come to the East African Court of Justice. And that would be an area of interest to you. What matters of business trade that have come to the East African Court of Justice? The small-scale traders may not have wanted to come or may have not known that they are able to come to court. But let me just give you an example of 3 matters that have come to the East African Court of Justice. The first one I would start with is Grand Lux versus the Attorney General of the Republic of Burundi. This is a matter where someone was doing business. He had gotten some goods from Tanzania, and he was bringing those goods to Uganda. And he was transporting those goods by road through Burundi, Rwanda, and finally destination Uganda. So he passed the border between Tanzania and Burundi. Now, leaving the border between Burundi and Rwanda, his goods are seized there. They are captured. And they are captured without any good reason, and they are sold. The allegation, and I'll insist on that, it's an allegation that was there. They are saying that because we have Burundi, we have issues with Rwanda, you are carrying beans or maize, you are going to give our the rebels who are in Rwanda to feed them so that they disturb us. So those goods were seized and sold. So this person comes to court saying, no, how do you do that? Under the common market protocol, under the customs union protocol, goods should move freely. You cannot just hold my goods and sell them without any reason. So the court heard that case and made a judgment that what the action of the government of Burundi of seizing those goods and selling them infringed the treaty. It contravened the treaty. It went against what they have agreed under the treaty. Now, that is one. Another good case is BAT versus the Attorney General of Uganda. In BAT, this is a company in Kenya selling cigarettes in Uganda. Now, in Uganda, there's a law that has been passed that foreign goods there should be excess duty. There should be duty on foreign goods. But now, under the same treaty, there is an interpretation of what foreign means. Foreign does not mean partner states. Foreign means countries outside the partner states. So you cannot tax goods from Kenya differently to goods that are in Uganda. So BAT comes to the court and says, no, this is what the treaty says. These people have passed a law, but this law, the way they are interpreting it, they're interpreting it wrongly. This is not the way they should interpret. Yes, it's a good law, foreign goods, but the treaty says foreign goods from outside East Africa, not within. So the court made a declaration and said that kind of interpretation is wrong, and in case any money has been paid on those goods, these people should be refunded that money. Another one that was also almost similar was Kio Limited, where Kenya also did the same thing. There was glass that was coming from Kenya, from Tanzania, entering Kenya. This glass from Tanzania was also being treated differently. How do you discriminate? You have your own glass, and there's a glass from Tanzania. You cannot tax them differently. So the court also issued an injunction stopping Kenya from doing that kind of thing. I know many of you here may have traveled from other countries, may have met these challenges across the border, even in migration. There's issue of visas, there's issue of what. I know those could be the questions that will come to me immediately after this. But this is a process. As I've told you, Uganda was interpreting the law differently. It's a good law, but the way they interpret, you may go to immigration or customs at the border there, they have the law, but the way they're interpreting it is, well, what do you do?